long is too long before you drink the milk in your fridge that expired last week? Eddie Vedder voice, I'm still alive.
Happy summer solstice, everyone. I'm ready to reflect and evaluate and fold my laundry.
Good for you. I befriended a minor bird this week, Heather, and now the minor bird says, no, Otis, no, Otis, no, Otis.
You're full of voices this week. My orthodontist finally took off his face mask, and I visibly jumped because he looks exactly like Doogie Howser.
Maybe it was. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome back to Have Such a Good Day.
The show that wants you to do just that. Yeah, y'all. I hope y'all are staying cool out there. Episode 243. Or you know what? Maybe it's June gloomy where you are. It could be.
God, I wish it was June gloomy where I was.
You do? Do you really, though? Don't you think that you would maybe complain about it?
No.
You don't?
I love June gloom more than anything in life.
Well, go move into my house for the month of June.
I'm telling you. I've lived in LA. You know, this is my third stint in the Great Basin, and I know how the summers are. I know this. I know it.
It's brutal.
I know how it can be like fun and hot, and you know, you get a tan, you wear, you know, short shorts and all the things. And if you want to get a respite, you go to the beach, all that stuff. And I'm telling you, it is hot as fucking balls right now.
Well, you know, Sarah, you can look forward to 3 more months of that because it's going to go into like September.
I know. Yeah. And truly, this is not even, I don't know. I don't want to sound like a big complainer because, again, I live here by choice. I don't have to live here. I like it here. And I also moved here in December. So in December, moving from Northern California to Southern California, not a big change. At least, you know, from where I was in Northern California, it was like, yeah, maybe like there's a little bit, it dips down at night a little bit more in Northern California. And there's, you know, maybe some frost on, you know, your windshield type thing, but like not a big change overall.
Yeah, it's true.
But when it comes to this time of year, well, you know what? That's not, I'm being unfair because in Sonoma County, where I lived before here, it also is very, very hot in the summer. And
it is. It's like Los Gatos. Los Gatos was 99 degrees when I drove through it the other
right.
day.
Yeah. I mean, Heather,
my hometown.
You obviously, Los Gatos, you know, at the southern end of the Bay Area, and me at the northern end, but you know, more or less same climate. So yeah, I'm not sort of like, oh my God, I moved to LA and it's hot and it's crazy. It's more of just, you know, I'm in, you know, when you move into a new house and you're sort of like, okay, you know, this is, you know, I need a blanket at this time of night, or I'm going to run the heater, or I'm going to run the AC. I'm kind of figuring out all that summer stuff now, especially because I work from home. So, I mean, I'm in this building, you know, for the majority of, you know, my, you know, the at least, you know, pre 5 p.m. time of day. And Yep. I'm going to need a couple more fans.
You're going to have to turn off those fans because you do so much audio recording. So you kind of can't do the noise either.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another part of it. And Heather had given me, and anybody else who has a recommendation, by the way, I'd love to hear about it. Given me a recommendation for a Dyson kind of air purifier / fan that is not real loud, that can kind of be in the corner of a room and just do double duty.
I'm in love with it.
I'm going to look into that. So, like, how do you have that up at your house in Humboldt?
Yeah, so basically I got an older model like years ago, and it's small. It's kind of a smaller guy, and I mostly use it upstairs for like in the morning for heat. it's wonderful, and it oscillates, and I'll just kind of turn it on. I turn it on every morning that I like do my games with you, and I kind of, it's in my office. And so I just love the extra like warmth, because it's chilly in the morning and it's so cozy. It just makes me so happy. But I can turn on the cool because it is a hot cool, but it also purifies the air, which I just love that 2-for-1. Because I'm kind of paranoid about like air quality and just like chemicals and formaldehyde and all that stuff. The new one I got about
Is there
6 months
formaldehyde
ago.
in the air?
Oh yeah, everything apparently, the packaging, anything you buy like has formaldehyde in it. Like you release formaldehyde. And so the new one that I bought, it's disgusting. And like packaging and stuff. So when I've been doing extensive research on these things, and there's a new one that I got that is a formaldehyde sensor. So that one's bigger. It goes in my living room, and I use it at night, mostly in the afternoon and evening, to circulate the air, because that side of the house gets so hot in the afternoon, and our windows, it's hard to explain. I don't want to open the windows because they're kind of these weird, you kind of crank them open, and then all there's no screens on them. I have to get screens on them, and then you open them up, and it's just spider eggs and, webs. It's just annoying. So it gets super hot in there. So I turn it on like around 3:00, and it totally circulates the air. And you can you can have heat and cool on at the same time. You can kind of have like it'll kind of balance out the temperature of the room. And so when the room gets too hot, when you have a certain setting, it'll kind of crank up this cool air. And I'm telling you, it's glorious. It's so worth the money. It's a bit of an investment. I do not regret buying either of those. But y'all,
that's good to know. Yeah.
Welcome to the show where we rap about everything but the kitchen sink.
I love how Heather and I were just like, we'll get to what the show is about, but first of all, I'm very hot.
Yes, let's go down this rabbit hole of like air conditioning and
if you know us, we love a good rabbit hole. But yes, we do. Yes, it's. I will prevail. It's all going to be good.
You will. You always do, Sarah. Even if you drink the old milk. I mean, you just do. You're tough like that.
So I didn't actually drink the milk, like, because I don't drink milk. I don't drink milk. But it was a half and half that I was sort of like, I should probably get rid of this, and I hate to throw food out. And I was like, it's expired, but, sniff test. I feel like sniff test. If it passes it, and like I don't have a cold or something, like I can sniff it and it smells okay, I think I'm good. I mean, clearly there is a point where it's not good. I'm aware of that, but I was like, I think I'm still in the window because I wanted half and half in my coffee. I use Ripple milk, which is, alternative milk thing for my coffee. But sometimes I just want regular old half and half. It was
hard to tell if it's still good too, because sometimes I'm like, well, okay, yeah, the sell by date. I have the hardest time with chicken broth. I feel like broth, when you open it, and I argue about this all the time with my boyfriend, it's like he thinks it's fine after 3 weeks opened in the refrigerator. I'm like, no, it's not. It's
oh,
chicken
see,
broth.
I agree with him.
That's disgusting to me.
It's
really?
Fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Really? Okay. Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's not fine forever. Trust me. I mean, I know things aren't fine forever. Again, sniff test. With dairy, I mean, sometimes with dairy you see it because it's like moldy, and that, then you're really in a world of hurt. But, for something like half and a half, it's like a little sniffy sniff, things are good, we're good. As long as you're kind of around that area. Chicken broth, I mean,
it's hard to smell,
you can't go like 6 months with open chicken broth in the fridge, but like I think those, I don't know why they give you the sell by or consume by date, because it's like with eggs, like that's just meaningless to me. Like
I agree.
the sell by, like eggs are fine, like
they last a long time actually.
Yeah. And you, of course, can freeze things. You could freeze chicken broth, I suppose. But like, I've got chicken broth in the fridge right now that's like half used because I use it with my rice now instead of water. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's fine. It's totally
okay. All right. Good to know. Well, I would like to come clean about something I said off the top of the show, Sarah.
All right.
About my orthodontist, who I really love, by the way. Yeah, I am telling you, it's uncanny how much he looks like him. And I do a double take every time I see him. I don't see him that often. I see him every 3 months, because I'm finishing my my Invisalign, which, by the way, I forgot. I was so harried when I left town this week. It was the worst. I felt so stressed, just like trying to get out. I told myself I'd leave by 9 a.m. I didn't roll out till after 10, and I left one of my trays. So I have just the bottom tray for my bottom teeth, and I somehow left the top tray at home. Great. Like, that is a really stupid mistake. And I also couldn't find one of my AirPods. So I'm down here with one Invisalign tray and one AirPod. I'm feeling a little like off
you're
balance.
like you're walking around outside naked.
I'm surprised I'm surprised I remembered all my shoes. But it is true. Like my I really do like my orthodontist a lot. I think medical can sometimes be challenging in a country setting because there's not as many like general practitioners and emergency, like urgent care type situations. But in terms of my specialists, I really do like them. And he trips me out because I'm not joking. He looks exactly like him. I got to find a picture to show you. But I might talk about this in a later
because
episode,
I can't remember the actor who obviously has done a lot of other stuff. So
Neil Patrick Harris. I love Neil Patrick Harris.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
I'm a big fan. No, he looks, it's uncanny. But it's funny too, is like I think it's really funny, the relationships that you have with these like medical and dental professionals, because you see them once or twice a year or however long you see them, however often you see them. Like I had a whole slew of checkups this week. I saw my dentist, got a full like x-ray panel, and then my hygienist, who is like a girl that's my age, and she's really cool, and I see her twice a year, and it's like she talks to me about her sisters and what her travels while she's like digging around in my mouth, and I'm like, I can't even reply. It's just like this one-sided conversation because you can't speak because they're working in your mouth.
Sure.
But like, yeah. I like her a lot. Like, she's not a friend. I wouldn't say she's a friend, and she's not a stranger. She's just like interesting in-between person. Yeah. That
a pleasant person who, provides a service.
Yeah, and you care about her being on the planet. You're like, I'd be sad if something happened to her. I think she's great. Yeah. But it's kind of a funny thing. Anyway, Sarah, happy summering. Are you, other than the heat, are you summering at all? Are you enjoying the sunshine and the vibe, I guess?
I have come around to the fact that I really am a fog person. I love now. So fog is very different in different places. Mm-hmm. I love a sunny day. Don't get me wrong. I'll sunny day all long, cold beer outside, get a little tan, or as I am these days, sort of like sit under the umbrella, but be like in the sun, more or less.
Sure.
But living in San Francisco, which I know is not the coldest place in the world at all. In fact, it's really relatively temperate, but it gets a bad rap. And Heather and I both lived there for many years. It gets a bad rap because this time of year, it can be just sort of like foggy, windy, and cold. I mean, not like winter coat cold, but like, couple layers, maybe even wearing a scarf, cold. And that has always thrown people, especially people who have come from somewhere else, where summers are a little bit more traditional for a loop. Mm-hmm. And it never bothered me. I was like, well, first of all, if you want to see the sun, just like cross the Bay Bridge and go do something in Oakland, you know, or
when I actually crossed the Bay, or I crossed the Golden Gate Bridge a couple days ago, and it was super sunny before I got there, and then the bridge just had fog on it, just the bridge, and then I got to the other side and it was like sunny again. It was wild, and like the fog was just like rolling really fast, and it was cool.
I mean, it's truly lovely. It's not for everybody, but and I think that I'm just being a baby right now because I'm like, I'm hot and I need probably 2 more fans in my house, and then everything will be fine. So, you know, I'll go to Lowe's after we're done here because, you know, you always gotta have an excuse to go to Lowe's. But yeah, it's hot as hot.
Hot as
it
balls.
Is hot. Yeah, I mean it's hot. It's some of our patrons, and shout out to y'all. Obviously live in climates that are way hotter than this, and you know, just don't complain and do their thing. And so, you know, I don't want to go on and on about it, but I will say, Heather, because I did mention the myna bird at the top of the show, and I don't know for a fact that it's a myna bird. But are you familiar with myna birds? They're very good at like replicating like human speech and you know. So the first time, and this is like a million years ago, let's say like late 90s, and I lived in an apartment with, you know, some roommates, and there was a myna bird outside, and the myna bird would do the car alarm. You know, like,
oh, no way.
Do, do, do,
That's great.
wee.
Yeah.
You know, and like, like I would kind of wake up sometimes and be like, the car alarm. But like that, something's weird about this. And it was the bird. The bird. Like, this is a wild bird.
Yeah.
Outside my window, just like doing the car alarm. But like doing it so well that I'm like... somebody's car, you know, that kind of thing. So, and I remember
you thought it was an
roommates,
actual car alarm.
Yeah, I mean, it was too, you know, very good replica. And I remember saying to my roommates, like, "Do you hear the bird?" And they were like, "Oh, the myna bird. Yeah, that myna bird talks all the time." And I'm like, "What?" And I had a bird when I was a kid. I mean, I'm aware of, you know, the fact that sometimes birds can say things that, you know, seem more like human things than bird things. I had a cockatiel, so different than a myna bird. But so there's a myna bird or some other kind of bird in my neighborhood now because in the morning, so I don't know, it's not even important, but where my bedroom is kind of in the back of the house, and it's really quiet. Like, it's like silent. You almost like, sometimes I'm like, even in the middle of the night, if I have to like get up and pee or something, I'm like, how do I live in a city right now? It's like dead quiet, which is great.
It's like kind of creepy though.
Yeah. Like, you're like, there are other times where it's not super quiet, but mostly it's quiet. But in the morning, especially, I think probably like spring, summer, you know, you get like the crows, you know, and there are 5 of them, and they're just loud and nasty, and you know, and then you get other birds who are doing sort of like sing-song things to each other, which I like all of this. But there's a myna bird that, because sometimes I go out the back, I have like a front and back entrance to my apartment, and I go out the back, and I am not kidding you, that bird, when he sees me and Otis the dog, he'll be like, "No, Otis. No, Otis. No."
Do you think he's really saying that, or does it just sound like he's saying that?
I think he is, because he's heard me say it before. Or she.
That is really funny.
Yeah, because and that's like, and it's like, it kind of sounds like me. It's weird, Heather. It's weird.
Wow, that is creepy.
And I look around and I'm like, "Where are you, bird? Like, do you want to be part of my family? You might as well come on in at this point. Like, are you hungry?" But yeah, no, it's no.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I think this is an ongoing segment. Where you have to update us on the myna bird, kind of.
I will.
How I update you on my sleep score. It's a big thing. You know, it's funny. I want to mention that this is the first time that my Aura Ring. I'm feeling like we weren't in sync last night because the first time, seriously, I think it's pretty accurate. But last night, I was under the impression that I slept like shit because I woke up a lot. I was very freaking hot and sweaty because I'm sharing, like, hear me out here. This is a thing.
I'm hearing you.
I'm
hearing you.
Sharing an AC with my sister who's in a totally different room.
Okay.
That is like, I am not cool with that because she's super opposite of me. And when I want it on, she wants it off. It's just like, why did we pick this hotel? This is like so apt actually for this trip. Where
is the AC in your room?
No, so like there's two rooms. They're down like a really small, like short hallway. And there's a thermostat in between, like in the hallway between our units. So like we both can control it.
Got it.
So last night, like around 10 o'clock, she sent me a text saying, I'm turning the AC off. It's too cold for me. I'm cold. And then I sweated balls all night last night. So I'm like,
you can't
how
like
does this happen?
like it's like attached, like you can't like pull it into your room type thing.
No, it's like a central AC. Oh. And so you have to, there's only one thermostat that controls both rooms. And I'm just like, this is just whack. You know, you go on a trip. And by the way, Sarah, if you're sweating your balls off, I don't know, I'm sweating some other body part off because I'm in Ojai. I'm just north of you, and it's hotter here than it is in LA. It's like 85, and I think it's like 82 in LA. Just for the record, but it's hot here.
You know, so here's another, you know, going back to the whole, you know, where people say, like, I mean, is it really that hot right now? It's like, it's not that it's that hot. It's relentlessly hot.
It is relentless.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's never cool.
There are climates where, you know, the temperate climate that I love, you know, it's not that I want to be encased in fog all the time, but, you know, I do love fog in my own way. But, like, it's more of like, you know, you got a kind of chilly morning, then it gets hot. And then it's like kind of chilly at night.
It's nice to have the variety, I think.
And Southern California doesn't, sometimes it does have that, but right now, no. It's just like, I mean, when Otis and I go out at, 7, if not earlier, like when I hit direct sun, I'm like, it's hot. It's hot. I mean, the sidewalk isn't hot yet. It's way worse in the afternoon, but it's like, you just feel that heat where you're like, yep, Yep, we're just gonna like put ice in the water bowl and, you know, hope for the best.
And you should get some popsicles too, or make some homemade popsicles. Those are the best. But like,
I'll get right on that.
Yeah, get right on that with your sour milk.
It was half and half, and it was fine. I actually threw the rest out, but I did have it with my coffee. Okay, I'm still alive.
So I know what you mean though, like especially in a place like LA where there isn't a lot of shade or tree cover, that it's hard because there's a lot of pavement, there's a lot of asphalt, and the asphalt's black, and so in the thick of summer it just feels hotter, or it's hot because the sun's hitting the asphalt and it's, you know, but. Yeah, it's pretty hot here. So my sleep score was interesting this morning because I really had like a rough night, but I dreamt like I had really like spurts of these vivid dreams of like tsunamis and like just really weird, like intricate situations. So I obviously got some deep sleep. But I do remember waking up like at least a dozen times. It felt like I woke up that much. And I was in this weird single bed, which I really don't like single beds. It's nothing against kid beds because they're great for kids, but I don't know. I feel like I'm at camp. Like we screwed up and booked this room, and I wouldn't have booked it if it didn't have a queen bed. I just didn't. I don't know. I guess I didn't look at what bed it had, and it has 2 single beds in 2 different rooms. It feels weird for me.
Awkward, yeah.
I don't like it. I just don't like it. And
I'm fine with a single bed because I'm a small person, and you're relatively small. You know, I mean, you're a few inches taller than me.
What are you saying, Sarah? I'm fat?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
know. I feel like you're like a little bit taller than me, but like you're actually almost like more compact than me overall. I'm fine with a single bed, but I know what you mean. Like in a hotel room, I'd be like, really?
It's just funny, and then you have to share your AC. Like it's just so typical though of like I knew I'd have a weird thing like this with like being on a trip with my sister because there's some fundamental differences between us and the way we travel, and I just feel like it's so apt like for a trip like this. Like of course we're sharing an AC because why wouldn't we? You know, but
yeah. If one person, I mean, temperature is, especially for sleeping or like in the car. I mean, there's so many times where like I'll be, I don't know. I mean, not even lately, but like I've been in the car, you know, with someone where I'm like, I open the window and they're like, oh, can you close the window? Cause I have the AC on. And I'm like, I need fresh air. You know, like, it's like, I don't want to be a dick, but like, I'm not comfortable. And I tend to be somebody who like, I want a cold room when I'm sleeping. I mean, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to be in Antarctica, but I want it to be chilly because I want the covers, I want the weight on me, and it's okay if like my nose is cold, kind of thing, you know. And when it gets to like, oh, I'm like hot, I can't sleep. But I also don't want to sleep without a comforter because that feels weird to me too. So it's like, what do you do at that point?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's funny. I just got a text message from my sister saying, boy, your voice really carries in this building. And I could hear you talking about the shared AC situation. It's like,
oh dear.
Dude. Okay, I'm going to lower my voice a little. Anyway, I wanted to explain. So just real quick to wrap up the Oura Ring thing. My sleep score was 90%. And that is like my goal. That's like my sleep goal is like in the 90th. And I'm like, really? Of all nights? I got
you're getting an A.
Last night? Yeah, I got an A. Anyway, interesting. I'll explain. I'm at a place called the Christian
I love how
Mercy
Heather is now
Retreat.
whispering because sister
I'm
is
like really
listening.
hushed. God, it's like I can't escape.
It's okay. You know what? We can totally change the subject and just, you know, and then you can be as loud as you want about other things.
It's all good. Listen, I'm not. There's no like hard feelings here. It's just more like, look. I mean, life is comedy. I'm talking about something funny. You know, there's no reason to take it like in the wrong way.
No, nobody's right or
I can
wrong.
Talk about my experience.
It's just a, you know, yeah. It's like, it's like. I don't know. It's not unlike, you know, two people going out for dinner and one person's like, I want lasagna. And the other person's like, I don't. That's like, what do you do? I mean, like, do you like get something else or do you share the lasagna? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Totally. So one other thing I wanted to tell you, I forgot to tell you about this, Heather, but I was Heather and all in our Have Such a Good Day Army, Coast Guard, weird situation happened yesterday. Okay, so, you know, we're in a heat wave in LA. Again, it's not the craziest heat wave ever, but, you know, one of those things where LA also has, just because there's so many people who live here, they'll kind of do like these, like, you know, spare the air day or, watch out for elderly people. It's hot today, kind of thing. You know, you sort of, you kind of have these like local news things that happen, which I appreciate. I mean, they're all meant for good things, but you know, and one of those things is also, you know, make sure your pets are well hydrated. You know, don't walk your dogs in the middle of the day. You know, because the pavement is hot. You know, like you're wearing shoes, but they're not, you know, all that stuff. And I know this and I respect it and, you know, never trying to do a bad thing. Anyway, yesterday, it was not as hot as it was on Sunday, but it was still pretty hot. And it was like midday, you know, 11 a.m. type thing. And not even really, you know, crazy hot, but hot. And I was like, between shows, you know, I'd had a morning show, I was going to have an afternoon show, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to go to the corner store and get like some vitamin water. Just like, I don't know, just like hydration things. It's Gatorade kind of stuff. And I had taken Otis out in the morning very early, and, he's fine. He was fine. But I'm like, poor guy hasn't been out in 5 hours almost. So, like, I'll take him with me and, we'll walk in the shade. The corner store, when I say corner store, to me, it's literally on my corner. I mean, it's maybe 5 doors down. It's not even a block away. And, it's like, if you have to do your business, do your business. So we go, and you do have to cross my street to get to the store. So we go, and as we're crossing the street, because it's asphalt, which is dark, I run with him, because I'm like, if you run, we're better off, pause. And this woman who's crossing, like, the street that, like, we're perpendicular to, yells out her window at me, and I'm going to bleep out some of the stuff because it was a lot, but she was like, "You bleeping piece of bleep! How are you gonna bleep and walk your dog in this heat? You're gonna kill your dog!" And then just, like, keeps driving, and I'm like, wow. First of all, I think she was confused because as we were running across the street, maybe it seemed like we were, like, jogging, like, for exercise kind of thing. Like, I'm in, like, yoga pants. I mean, I kind of look like I could be exercising. Second, she doesn't know that I live literally right behind me, And third, who the fuck are you? I get it. I love a person who is advocating for the animals, but, like, you don't know me. I am the biggest advocate for animals to a fault. So, wow. Let's get it together, people.
That is, like, really aggro.
Really aggro. Like, to the point where, like, just because I'm not, I try not to be a super angry person, but sometimes in moments like that, I'm like, if you turn around, you better turn around. I'll be here. I'll get you. Like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? But I'm like in my mind, I'm like, I'm not afraid of you. Of course, she never came back, but and I didn't wait for her. And Otis and I were literally, like, in and out of the store in less than 5 minutes, and he peed.
What an adventure!
Yeah, totally.
What an unexpected adventure.
We did all the things we were supposed to do. Everything was fine, and like, just being screamed at for going to your neighborhood corner store. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting, Sarah.
Yeah.
So, a little bit more on where I'm staying.
Okay.
It's very interesting. So it's kind of this, like, retreat place that is in this orange orchard, kind of like 8 minutes. It's still in Ojai, but it's, like, outside of the downtown of Ojai.
Okay.
It's a beautiful area, really beautiful. Kind of in the mountains. And apparently John Lennon has a lot of history. Apparently John Lennon and Charlie Chaplin used to stay here because it has this kind of spiritual...
not together.
No, not together.
Different
separately.
eras. Yeah, I was like, John Lennon and Charlie Chaplin. How would that work? Okay, yeah.
There's a John Lennon room that I wanted to book because it was like, it's kind of like an upstairs. It's a really cool room. It has a queen bed. I'm in the Charlie Chaplin room, so apparently Charlie Chaplin liked single beds. I don't know.
He's cool with a single. He's cool with it.
He's cool with silent, not speaking, and single beds.
I don't hate it. But I don't hate it. It sounds kind of zen.
I know. I don't hate it. It's interesting. I mean, I have a really cool like red mini fridge. It's, like, really retro. It's funky, but, like, also it's extremely quiet, and they have rules. It's vegetarian, so you can't bring meat on the property. It's supposed to be, they tell you to be very quiet, and they've got these shared ACs, obviously. Like I said, it's not your typical hotel. Anyway, the grounds are really beautiful. This morning I saw a bunny rabbit and a lizard, and I've killed 3 spiders lurking in my bathroom. So look, it's in nature. I love nature. Who doesn't? But I was sort of like, I wanted sort of like more of an urban escape, like away from the spiders.
Right. Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fine. So I went for like kind of a little walk this morning before it got too hot. And I walked right past Mickey Rourke walking his dog. It was really kind of cool. I was like, oh my God.
Like, hey,
that's Mickey Rourke.
Mickey
like,
Rourke.
Hey, we said hello,
I think that's you.
I would have loved to like have a little chit chat with him. Anyway, there's quite a few celebs that have moved here since the pandemic, really during the pandemic. Apparently like Ted Danson lives here, and Juliette Lewis, Kevin Costner, and I guess apparently Mickey Rourke and his pup. Which is kind of why I feel like I can't totally afford a modest shack anymore here. Because I sort of considered like getting some real estate here like 5+ years ago. And it was definitely more affordable. So I was kind of cruising around today because I just sort of want to get it out of my system, like, because I was always like, it was always in the back of my mind. I don't know, maybe Ojai. It's like hop, skip, and a jump to LA. It's still kind of in the country, and it's like naturally beautiful. It's kind of a cool place, and I don't know. I'm kind of like I really still love it, but I don't think I'm gonna pursue it. And part of the reason is, I'm sure y'all out there, a lot of you are homeowners, and about how insurance is gotten way more expensive, and a lot of insurance companies have dropped people because of climate change and various natural disasters, such as like these fires. There's all these fire zones now, and this is a very, very, I'd say, high fire zone. And word on the street is that you can't get fire insurance here anymore. And it's like, I don't know if I would invest in a property where I can't cover it. So I don't know. I still think it's very beautiful. It might be a little too hot for me. I mean, it's pretty desert. But it's funny it's a bit of a quirky town. It's kind of new agey, but like maybe a little less, I would say, I want to say there's about 8,000, population of 8,000. So it's like
that's
small,
like,
but
that's
big.
like Sebastopol, where I grew up. It was about 8,000 people. I mean, there were more people in the country that, called it their home, but it's a small town.
It's about 8,000,
small town,
give or take. Yeah. And
but you're right next to Santa Barbara, which is adorable and lovely,
great.
but also totally. It is sort of rich Republican, which that might totally appeal to some people, but it is, there are LA and Southern California and kind of anything below, gosh, I don't know. Well, you know what? That's not true. I was about to say like, you get a little bit more conservative the more south you go, but that's not true. You get a lot of that up north too. You just kind of have to pick your spot.
Yeah, you do. And I think that what I like so much about this place is, the geographical location. It's near the beach. It's in the desert. You're near Santa Barbara. You can go see a show in the city, but you can kind of retreat. It's nice, but I don't know. I sort of realize it's really tough out there. It's not really ideal, but it's kind of funny. The town itself is quite small. We did kind of a pretty big tour today. I hadn't been to some of the little hilly enclaves. You would like it, Sarah. There's some great little residential neighborhoods with modest places. And it's so funny. We drove into town. So there's like this main road that goes through town. And it's just like a 2-lane road. And all along it, for a very long time, for many miles, there's all of these chairs, like beach chairs, plastic chairs, outdoor chairs, all lined up, a variety, hodgepodge of chairs, just lined up for miles down the main drag on the sidewalk. And it's very bizarre. It's like, what are these chairs? And they're all like locked. So the people who put the chairs there have put like bike locks around them and locked them to like
and the chairs, but they're pole. Like on the road, like no one's sitting in the chairs.
No, they're like on the sidewalk, like where you park your car. Like they're just right there on the sidewalk, and they're all lined up. and they're all like, it's a hodgepodge of any chair you can ever imagine. There's even a couch actually out there. And I asked the guy at the restaurant we went to last night, I'm like, what is going on with these chairs? And he said, I know, it's really strange, but people get really aggressive. So apparently there's a July 4th parade. And yesterday was June 24th. I
see what's going on here.
We're looking at like a couple more weeks until, I don't know how long these chairs have been out there, but it's like pretty far in advance that people are putting these chairs out, and they're locking them, and apparently this guy said, people get really aggressive. If people mess with their chair, I've seen fights break out. I was like, this is the most bizarre thing. Like, why hasn't this hit the news? I've never seen anything like this before. Have you?
Do not touch my chair, mother F.
I know, plastic.
I love it. And it's all because they just want to sit down for a parade in a couple of weeks.
I guess. I'm like, am I missing something? It's so strange.
I think that's what they can't possibly want their chair to be there all year. I mean, unless I'm missing something.
They want their spot. They want to like save their spot, but it's so like on another level. It's
listen,
like really weird.
we had a not 4th of July, but it was an annual parade in my hometown, the Apple Blossom Parade in April. Still happens. But it was definitely something where you'd be like, you gotta like, park your car in the right spot, like ahead of time. And, day of, like, get up before dawn to get like a good seat, or else you can't see the parade, because it was popular. But I mean, not like weeks ahead of time. That's insane.
It seems a little extreme, and it's also like such an eyesore. It's really bizarre. It's just these cruddy, dirty, like plastic chairs, like all along.
They're all locked up. That is weird.
It's bizarre.
Life is weird, Heather, and
sure is.
California is one of the weirdest places you can ever be. Up and down the block. So yeah. I guess, the chairs of Ojai, that could be your next documentary.
Yeah, it totally could be. Speaking of, actually, it's funny because I just, it's like, I don't know, it's that whole like law of physics, but I'm slowly but surely trying to get this movie off the ground. I'm working with an agent in LA who is so typical agent, like in the sense where it's like, whenever you call him, you always get his, there's some kind of a secretary, and they always get back to you. Mm-hmm. You're never, an assistant, sorry, not secretary, assistant. And they never can talk to you when you call. It's always a callback. Mm-hmm. And I've had this with him many times already. And every time he calls me back, it is the most inopportune moment. He's just so good at it. He called me at like 7:00 last night, and I'm like in the middle of dinner. I like spilled wine on my pants. Like, it was just like so inopportune to like pick up the phone in the middle of my dinner.
Right, and just be like, now I'm going to take a call. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, and then this morning I called him like, around 9:30 just to try to catch him before like the end of the day. 'Cause usually in the evening I'm kind of tied up. I'm having dinner. I'm out and about. And so he was like, I'll call you back. His assistant said, I'll call you back. And like in line at this incredibly like popular bakery, trying to order my pastries that you have to tell them which ones you want because they're all like lined up. This place is insane. I bought like a rhubarb pie and like, oh my God, amazing stuff.
Sounds good.
And I'm holding my pastries, and I ordered this coffee, and I'm trying to pay, and there's all these people behind me, and he calls me in the middle. My hands are full. I'm trying to use my credit card. I drop like my wallet and my credit cards fall out on the ground, but I'm like trying to pick up the phone because if I don't pick it up, I'm never going to talk to him. It was it's just funny. It's so funny how things work out. But I really feel like we made some major progress, and we're moving on to like the next step, and I think this is really going to happen. So I'm excited. So I'll keep you guys posted. But in the meantime, we did get a few sweet notes from people. We normally kind of give you guys a heads up that we're not doing a show. Last week was a weird snowball of like chaos, and I was leaving town, and Sarah had a lot going on, and so we kind of, I don't know what happened. We just sort of lost
track of time.
Yeah. And we apologize for not like giving you a heads up that the show didn't happen. We were kind of trying to make it work, and then it just fell through the cracks. So apologies in advance for that. But
and
sent a note
for
out today.
For anybody who's sort of like, what's the sketch? Our schedule is a little up in the air. On a normal week, we put the show out by the end of the week type thing, and we kind of just couldn't do that last week. So we are recording the show a little bit earlier than sometimes we do this week. And, if y'all would like a makeup show kind of thing, let's talk about that. But, and I think in the meantime, just thanks for understanding that everything's cray cray.
Yeah. And we try to it probably would have been, at least better for me to do like a dark week this week, because I'm kind of on the road. I'm in my car. It's like a lot of driving. But we usually just don't like to take dark weeks if we don't have to. We very often, we really try to do the show every week, even if there's a holiday. We're pretty good about that. So, a little blip. But I wanted to mention, that we did get a couple really kind notes about last episode. One from Gabriel. "Oh, Sarah, you're such a strong lady. Been a fan since the beginning of your Tech TV days. As a recently single middle-aged gay man, I relate so much to you sometimes. It's wild. I always feel better after listening to you guys. Big hugs to you both."
I love the fact that Gabriel's like, "I'm Sarah."
I know. I love that.
No,
it's amazing.
I know that's not what you were saying, Gabriel, but I'm like, single, middle-aged gay man. Okay, well, that's not me, but we probably do have a lot in common.
Absolutely.
And I know, Gabriel, you're referring to me being a little emotional on our last episode, and life has been kind of crazy around here. It's
sometimes hard to hold back the tears.
It's not just the summer heat. I'm weepy. I'm a weepy person. This is just, I not like 24/7. Please, if you ever meet me, I'm not gonna like cry. But but when I can't hold it back, I just can't. And so I appreciate everybody for kind of just being nice in those situations, because I think we all go through really hard situations, and we're all navigating this thing called life, as Prince said, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, we will. Also, we got a note about the time when, I guess it was the last episode, or was the one that I was talking about when I was the hostess with the mostess. Heather, I'm with you. Too many people to keep track of to entertain is not fun. Makes me want to do what is called an Irish exit. And it's funny because I am the queen of Irish exits. I used to get grief from friends back in the day, like early 2000s. We'd go to these clubs and parties, and I just would get 2 a.m. I'm done. Like I'm just cooked. So I would just sneak out, because if I didn't, everyone would make it hard for me to leave. It would take forever to say goodbye to everybody. So it's
totally.
You're so much better off. Just go out the back door, talk to them in the morning, look at the pictures,
right.
online.
And like, it's late. Like, you want to go to bed. What are you missing? You're not missing anything. I used to have the same thing.
To be mad when someone's tired is like,
Right.
Like, I'm mad at you. You left. How
yeah,
dare
you need to party harder, Heather. It's like, oh my God. Like, when I hear 2 a.m, I'm like, ooh. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those days are over. Those days are over. Even I went out to, the last time I went out to a bar was maybe about 3 weeks ago, and it was like a sports bar, like nothing fancy. Like, it wasn't a club or anything. But we went, had a few drinks, made friends with the bar patrons around us. and we're home before midnight. And that felt like kind of like a big night for me. You know,
Yeah,
like
no,
I'm like,
it is for sure.
yeah, I'm like on a Friday, like most Fridays, I'm like pajamas at 7.
No, it's actually really funny because
making spaghetti and sleep by 10.
yes, exactly. It's funny because I'm supposed to go see this movie. It's related to the movie that I'm working on with the writer, and it's a 7:30 showing. But I'm also like coming in hot. I've got a dinner, like an early dinner, and like the movie's in Santa Monica, so it's like it's like one of those things that I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I just don't know if I can do it. It's gonna be a late one. You know, I'm gonna have to try to stay awake in this movie after like a big dinner, and it's just funny. I would have never like ever questioned something like this, like, you know, 5-10 years ago. But on that note, before I fall asleep, because I think it's my nap time, it's sort of high sun right now. It's about 85 degrees, and
oh, I mean, I am like, I mean, I was about to say, you all should see me. You should not. I am literally like Whitney Houston, like sweat rag right now happening.
Why Whitney Houston?
Because she used to do that with the sweat rag, you know, or I'm like, why is she sweat? Yeah. Like, why is she so hot? Well, I mean, she probably had her own reasons for that. But no, like, I'm like, I need to take another shower. This is a 2-shower day, and I have not even worked out. This is just what's happening.
You're making me appreciate the June gloom that is. I'm not at home right now. Like I said, I'm down in the desert, but home is June gloomy. Like before I left, and we would get little like nice days of sun, but for the most part, it is pretty foggy. Like I said, I live right on the cliff of the ocean, and I was like, get me out of here. I am blowing this foggy taco stand. It was driving me crazy because it's summer, and I want summer vibes, you know? I don't want to be cold.
Also, you know, you're you know, again, for everybody who... Heather and I talk ad nauseum about, you know, living in California,
weather.
But, you know, where Heather lives and where I live right now, it's a very different kind of fog. Like up where you are, it's like, ooh, like cold.
Yeah, and it's like a rainforest
for me,
fog.
I'm like, yes, like it's like less hot, like foggy day, woo, you know, let's rock.
Sometimes it's amazing. Like you go outside and you walk through the fog. It's like very cool, and like the birds are chirping, and it's kind of like this really trippy atmospheric fog that I really, really like. Okay, let me just come clean here. I like fog a lot. I don't like overcast. There's a difference. I like the kind of fog
there is
that's
a difference,
moving.
yeah.
And it's the overcast June gloom thing I really don't like, because you don't have shadows. There's no light. It's all white. It's all monotone.
It's diffused.
So it's very diffused, and when it's multiple days of it back to back to back, I think it affects my mood, because it's just not, things don't feel alive. It's so diffused. It's so blah. So that's kind of where I stand. I think fog is really interesting, and I totally appreciate it and I enjoy it. But anyways, you know, I realize too, and we're going to wrap this baby up, but part of this trip that I'm on is sort of, where do I want to live? You know, and I am frustrated with where I live right now, even though I'm very lucky that I live where I do, and it's beautiful, and there's so many great things, but there's obviously always shortcomings with where you live. There's going to be problems anywhere you go. They'll just be different. And so I'm kind of like, what would it be like to live here, you know, in Ojai, or, you know, going through some other towns off the 101 here. And, you know, it's, you're going to be contending with something. So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it is an easier question to answer than I thought. We will resume this conversation next week when we're back talking to you guys, because I you know, it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing education.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. But in the meantime,
just a reminder, we are on Patreon as we wrap up here. Patrons, you know who you are. We love you. We couldn't do this without you. We would love more of you. If you are listening to the show and would like to directly support us, patreon.com/havesuchagoodday is where to find out more about doing that. And with that, we are going to say sayonara.
I'm going to try to stay cool here in the desert, and I'm going to remain Heather forever.
Well, you do that, Heather, forever, and I will remain Sarah for, I keep trying to do this. Every time we sign off, I'm like, Sarah forever.
Just say Sarah.
It just doesn't work.
Just say Sarah.
Sarah forever. I don't know. I need something that rhymes better. Yeah,
we're gonna work on that.
Sarah forever. Yeah. That's what I'll do. But thanks to everybody for.
How about Sarah Lane in the membrane? Maybe you have to use your last name.
All right. We're gonna workshop this. If you have ideas, please send them our way. hi@havesuchagoodday.com. Heather, you stay cool. I will do the same, and we will see you all very, very soon.